A recent announcement from Athearn may have just threw a wrench in the timeline for the SD70M and SD75I project. What is it? Come back after the title and we'll talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to another video here. Yeah, if you caught that by the title, a recent announcement on Athearn's Train Tuesday show may have just thrown a little bit of a wrench into this whole project I'm working on. Maybe not affecting the models we're going to be working on directly, but any future models coming down that may come down the pike at some point. But anyway, I'm going to throw a little bit of an update video on here because we do have the paints now. So I'll show you those right here. We got our paints right here. These are from Badger, and I apologize for the mirrored image on the camera, but I'm not going to take these out of the bag either. But these are Badger paints. We have Frisco orange right here, and we have flat white. This is the closest I could find to what the Frisco used on their locomotives up until the point they merged with BN that were in this orange and white scheme. So we got these two right here, and we've got this right here. This is the black paint. This is going to be used on the trucks and the fuel tank on the locomotives. We've also got our gloss clear coat right here, and our flat clear coat for when all the decals and all the paint and everything's on there, and we seal everything up, make it look real nice and pretty. So yeah, that's going to be really cool there. Also, we got the number board decals as well. So these are number board blanks. These Waller's engines don't have functioning number boards, so these are just going to be regular little decal blanks that we're going to put in the where the number boards are, and also the numbers on this side as well. So we have our numbers right here and the blanks for the number boards that they'll sit on. So that's going to be really cool. Also, we have a couple little Frisco-isms that we're going to throw at these guys. We have our Leslie 5 chimes. This is the Leslie S5T-RR air horn. It may be a little hard to see, but yeah, there you go right there. So that looks really good. Yeah, really nice right there. So we got a couple of those, one for the SD75M, and also I was able to work the SD75I that I originally planned to do into the budget. So yeah, we got the SD70M obviously that we're going to be working on, and like I said, now we also have the SD75I as well. So we're going to be working on these bad boys, getting them looking all nice and cool looking, making them look like as if the Frisco never became part of Burlington Northern and they remained an independent company, or at least a subsidiary of BNSF Railway. So that's going to be a fun project. Now we get into the fun stuff, to where Athearn may have just thrown a little wrench into this whole deal. Not necessarily affecting these two models that we're doing, but any future models that may come down the pike in the next few years or something like that, but depending on what happens, of course. So here's the deal, and I'll start by explaining the timeline. If you have Facebook and you're part of the Model Trains Are Fun page, or if you have Facebook, I'll leave a link to it where you guys can read the full story. If you don't have Facebook, here's the short and sweet story. So it is late summer of 2000. We're going to say August. Frisco's SD45s and SD40-2s are beginning to show their age. The issues cropping up with the SD50s are beginning to become too much for the railroad. That's where we enter a chance encounter with UP's SD70Ms. Now this is where this alternate timeline is actually going to line up with the real timeline, because UP still orders their 1,000 plus unit SD70Ms, starting in, well, they placed the order in late 1999. They began receiving them in very early 2000. So that part remains the same with the actual timeline. So just FYI there. We have 2 SD70Ms paying back horsepower as owed to the Frisco, along with 2 aging Frisco SD45s, powering a Kansas City, Missouri to Memphis, Tennessee mixed freight train. The train makes short work of the Thayer North subdivision, which is a very brutal, hilly section of the Thayer sub that runs from Springfield, Missouri to Thayer, Missouri. The train changes crews at Thayer. It is now sprinting along the Thayer Sub South Division, which runs from Thayer to Memphis, Thayer, Missouri to Memphis, Tennessee. It is a largely flat and straight section, especially once you get past Black Rock, Arkansas. The train is sprinting along at track speed. It makes it to Memphis on time. Frisco management is impressed with the performance of these UP units and elects to purchase some of them. They place an initial 10-unit order for SD70Ms, beginning with the number 1090. That's what this unit's going to be that we're working on. So they place an initial order for 10 units with an optional, well, not optional, they end up ordering 30 more, but this time they are SD70Is. Now you might ask, what's the difference between the I and the M? The SD70Is have a gasket. Well, it appears like a little gap in the nose that runs over the top of the nose and down the sides. And that obviously houses the gasket I just mentioned, which isolates the cab from the main frame and the body of the locomotive. And basically what that does, that reduces vibrations, noise, and just overall provides a better ride and a better overall experience for the crews that operate these locomotives. And as such, the non-isolated cab versions have become known as Thunder Cab units. That also includes the some of the SD70 models that came after them, after the 70M and 75Ms. And those units were known to vibrate violently. They had very rough. They were very rough riding, to the point where BNSF considered them a safety hazard, and those particular units are actually banned from leading trains. They can only be trailing units and DPUs. So that's kind of the main. That's kind of the short, sweet explanation on those units. But anyway, this is where the Athearn announcement is going to kind of throw a wrench into all this. So we have this version, the SD70M, which starts from 1090 and ends at 1099, the initial 10-unit order. And then we have a 30-unit order after that, which would be SD70Is. Now, with the Athearn announcement, okay, let me back up here. That number series I had originally planned to start with number 1100. Here's where the Athearn announcement is going to kind of throw a wrench into this. So the Athearn announces a new run of SD90 Max. They obviously do the prototype stuff, the UP, the EMD demonstrator, and then EMD leaser, which are XUP units for their Prime for Grime series. Then they announce some legendary liveries, SD90 Max. Now you might ask, well, what? For those that don't know what the legendary liveries line that Athearn does is, it's basically a line of fantasy schemes. These can either consist of alternate paint schemes that the railroad has that they didn't apply to those particular units. And then also the straight up fantasy schemes, railroads that never bought a particular unit or a fallen flag that may have survived it, that in an alternate timeline survived into the current day, and they have modern power, which that's where this is going to come in. So Athearn announces the some legendary livery scheme, one of which is Frisco, and I'll put a photo up here where you guys can kind of get a visual of what these things look like. First of all, the renderings on these things look amazing. When I saw this, I was really hyped to see this. The issue with this, where this paradox kind of comes into play, is the numbering series they're using. One of the road numbers they're using is going to be 1100. The other one is 1111. They're only doing two. They're only doing two numbers in that scheme. So the paradox would be that was what the second order of SD70s, which would be SD70Is, that I had originally thought up as a second order for Frisco to purchase in this alternate timeline, was going to start at, which was 1100. So we obviously can't have two 1100s if I do something like this, two 1100 series units, because it would make no sense. So we can do this a couple of different ways. One way we could have it where the SD90 Mac, now this is the Phase 1 body style SD90 Macs, which were made, I think I looked this up, and it says it was made from 1995 to 1998 when the Phase 2 SD90 Mac came out, and basically the Phase 2 version looks like a stretch version of an SD70 Ace. That's basically the best way I could describe it. It has that style cab on it. It has the two large radiator fans, as opposed to the Phase 1, which has three radiator fans and a cab that more or less resembles these guys. So that's basically the best way I can explain that. But we can do this a couple different ways. We can either have it where in this alternate timeline, Frisco buys the Phase 1 SD90 Max, let's say early 1997, because the SD75Is would come in this alternate timeline in late 1997 all the way to early 1999. That would be their production span for the Frisco. We can do it that way and have their number series start at 10, and it'd be a 15 unit order for the Frisco. We'll just call it that. We can start it at 1525 and end it at 1525. Wow, I messed up. 1025 and ended at 1039, which that would be when the SD75I takes over the number series at number 1040 all the way up to 1089, the 50 unit order there. So we can have it where Frisco, at some point between the two SD70M orders, they like to renumber the SD90 Max to the 1100 series, 1100 to 1114, and have them kind of placed in between the two SD70M orders. Or I'm sorry, 1100 to 1100 to 1114. My bad. So 1100 to 1114, and then the second order SD70Is starts at 1115 onwards. So we can do it like that. Excuse me. Or we can slide it where these are brand new units, but Frisco has them built with the Phase 1 body style. We could do it that way. and do the 1100 to 1114 that way. So they would be new units, but with the older body style. That technically wouldn't make much sense. I kind of like the idea of them buying the units prior to the SD75Is, just as a way to where they get their feet wet with AC traction. They kind of like the idea of being able to kick out intermodal trains with a single unit, so they buy them, test them out. They don't get, they're not real thrilled with them, but they try to give them a chance, and then they kind of decide to renumber them past the SD70, SD75I units, where they could slot that number series in for SD70 Max as an option, or more SD70Ms. SD75Is, my bad. I'm getting confused here. There's so much stuff running around my head. I'm kind of getting everything jumbled up. So there's a few options we could do there. They could either slot that in for, like I said, more SD75Is or SD70Ms or even SD70 Max. Who knows? We could do it that way, and then the SD90 Max get the first 1100 series numbers. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that idea a little better than having it where they order brand new SD90 Max, except they have the older body styles. So as opposed to the new bodies, the newer body style. So yeah, there's a lot of things we could do there, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun to put this little video together. And I'll leave a link to that Train Tuesday video as well, where you guys can check that out if you haven't watched it. So yeah, that's just kind of it. It's, like I said, it's not going to affect these two models directly as far as the one I'm doing, but any future ones, yeah, it's going to kind of have an effect on those. Any future models I decide to do. But in the meantime, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care, all. Bye for now.